people will think there were two main reasons. And one would say, was it your wife, Sally, who you're devoted to, married in 2002? And she was somebody who influenced you and changed your opinion. A lot of people would say that about wives of their husbands, full stop. But was Sally an influence on you?
Sally must have been an influence on me, because I think partners do influence each other. And I think if you're spending a huge amount of time with someone that you care about and you talk about those matters because they're front and centre stage to your interests, it's bound to have an impact. So did she have some impact on me? For example, in saying to me, you know, it's not the most pernicious thing if there's a national minimum wage. Honey, it's not going to ruin the economy. It's not going to cause us to flatline. It's not going to make us the subject of mass unemployment. Of course it had an impact. I don't accept the, if I may say so, somewhat sexist view that there was this manipulative woman in the background trying to choreograph events and in some sinister fashion trying to contrive the destruction of the Conservative Party or, you know, the evisceration of all conservative beliefs. I don't accept that. But yes, she did have an impact on me. But I would say on the whole, it was the observation of our continued political failure that caused me to think, how can the Conservative Party adjust its position in a way it's been very flexible at doing over centuries so that it becomes a player again, just as it did, for example, in the aftermath of the Second World War. The Conservative Party wasn't originally in favour of the creation of the National Health Service or the development of an extensive welfare state, but it compromised with those positions because, frankly, they were very popular and they came to be regarded as broadly, or in some cases very, successful. The Conservative Party has never elevated ideology, perhaps until now, over common sense and the political survival instinct. So did she have an impact? She did. Was it the major factor in triggering a move leftwards? It wasn't.
The other thing...
But if there are people who determinedly believe that, as part of a sort of general critique of me, I can't help them. They're beyond treatment. There's no cure for them.
You know what Parliament's like. We all have sort of ideas of what's gone on. We all like conspiracy theories.
Indeed.
You can all start a rumour in a room probably with only one other person. And the other thing, people might have said, oh, it was a tactical decision on your behalf. There you are. You wanted to become Speaker. It would have been a Blair government. It would have been a majority of Labour people in the House. You would have needed their vote. Was it a tactical decision to go to the left so that you could win the vote of Speaker?
No. The trouble with that argument, which has been, I hesitate to say popularised, but advanced by at least one rather down-market journalist who isn't worth mentioning by name, is that the timings don't work. The truth of the matter is that I started moving left from the 2001 election onwards, so much so that by the time that Philip arrived in the House as the member for Shipley in 2005, I think he probably thought that I was certainly eligible to submit an application to join the Communist Party of Great Britain. I wasn't, but I had already been moving leftwards for 4 years. I made a decision finally to focus on backbench activity and the eventual pursuit of the speakership in 2004-05. Conceptually in 2004, and then in 2005 I applied to join the Speaker's panel of chairs, and I did join that in, I think, June 2005. And from then on, I was completely focused on that. Esther, Philip, it is true that I thought to myself, if I don't want to be a minister, if I don't want to be having sort of rebarbative arguments across the front bench, across the dispatch box with political opponents, but have decided that I would like a role, which is the choice of the House as a whole, it would make sense to try to win friends rather than arguments. So it is true that I said to myself, things that I used to do, I'd better stop doing. I used to shout out a lot and heckle very noisily, sometimes very critically of other people. And I stopped doing that.
Often me, I think.
Possibly even Philip himself. And I stopped doing that because I thought, well, look, if I'm serious about becoming Speaker, A, it's a good idea to try to win friends and influence people rather than make as many enemies as possible in the course of a day. And B, without being overly pompous about it, if you want to be Speaker, you don't really want to be heckler-in-chief. In fact, that's a journey, very belatedly, and sadly from his point of view, not successfully, that Chris Bryant undertook. Chris Bryant used to be a very, very, very regular heckler, constantly calling out people's errors, rebuking them, telling them when they were wrong or historically ill-informed or whatever. And then when he decided he wanted to become Speaker, he adjusted his approach. And in fact, I don't mind admitting that I suggested to him that he should adjust his approach. So I did. And when people said to me, "Oh, John, I really approve of your view on this," did I say to them, "Oh, you shouldn't"? And if I approved of somebody's view, did I feel inclined to say so to people on the left who I agreed with about the fight against global poverty or LGBT equality? I did. And did that probably help to win me friends? Yes. But I mean, if I had taken advice from the Conservative Whip's office as to how to go about winning the speakership, their advice would have been calculated on the basis of, let's tell John to do everything that will ensure he loses. Whereas actually I was quite interested in winning. So if I'm supposed to apologise for that, dream on.
So it was very tactical then. You did have to get the votes of the House. You did so, and you went on a journey.
What's not true is that I moved leftwards to win Labour votes. That's not true at all.